Yo, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be working on a 2000 Honda XR50. This is actually my cousin's dirt bike, and to be honest with you, I wasn't going to film any of this. I was just going to fix the problem and get the bike back running again. But as I got the case split, I realized like we should do bearings while we have the case apart. We should do all the inner seals. I mean, this is a 20-year-old bike. The bearings and the seals are old and need replaced. And after I brought that up, he brought up the fact that we should do the big bore kit. And the first thing that came to mind was, I'm down. Let's make this bike quicker and let's make a video about it. Give you guys a little rundown on this 50. It made this terrible noise. The chain had came off, so we stopped, put the chain back on. As we went to take off again, it wouldn't. It made a terrible noise, grabbed a few and then stopped. So we knew something inside the case was wrong. Let me go ahead and show you guys the main problem that started all this. So these are the transmission gears, and if we take a look, you can see we're missing 2 teeth. And if we take a look at this other set of gears, we're missing 3 teeth on this bottom gear. Luckily, we found a used set of transmission gears on eBay, and they're in super good shape. As far as the motor going back together, it's kind of on hold right now. We're still waiting on these case bearings to be delivered, as well as these crank bearings. And then obviously we're still waiting on the big bore kit itself. And we received a few more goodies today in the mail. Red spoke skins, red and black Pro Taper grips, wider foot pegs, the high volume oil pump, the seal kit. There's like 4 or 5 different seals in here. And we're going to install these wide pegs. Now when I first opened these out of the package, they didn't look any wider than a normal set of pegs, but then I pulled out the 50 pegs. Look at the difference. We got the old pegs off and this crossbar all cleaned up. We're gonna get these bad boys thrown on here, and they're on. Everything works nice and tight, and they look good. Yo, what's going on guys? It's a new day, and we got a box of parts in. Check it out. This is the whole bore kit. Got the new air filter, the new cylinder, 88cc baby. Got the new piston. That matches up with the XR50 head because we're not doing the race head. We got the new performance CDI rev box, and this is the race camshaft. Also got a 20mm carburetor, and the carburetor also comes with a jet kit. And we also got a head gasket kit for a Honda 88cc. This is pretty much the whole bore kit and everything we need to do the swap. To put the cases back together, I'm still waiting on bearings. These should be here either tomorrow or the next day. And since we're going to be using this factory Honda XR50 head, I'm going to take the time to clean this thing up because the outside of it is absolutely disgusting. So we got the head all cleaned up. I just took some purple power and a brush and scrubbed the outside the best I could, and then hit it with a wire wheel. Before I cleaned it, I took the camshaft out and the rocker arms, so I'm gonna go ahead and install the race cam. That way we can reinstall the rocker arms and kind of button all this back up. And there she is. Here's a better view. You'll be able to tell just how much bigger those lobes are than the factory cam. Race cam is in along with the rocker arms. The head is pretty much done. We're just gonna set this back off to the side again. We got the bearings in. These are the case bearings, and these 2 are the crank bearings. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, so we're not gonna be doing these tonight, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw on this CDI rev box, and it's basically just going to plug and play right into the factory harness. We'll have to re-rig it, figure out how to get it in here. It is much bigger than the factory one. This factory mount does not fit over the CDI box, so we're just gonna trash that. This thing does not fit in here any way, shape, or form with this middle tab in the way. We're gonna cut this tab off and drill 4 holes in this thing so that way I can zip tie this CDI box down. It's all mounted up, zip tied down nice and tight. It's really tight in here. I had to zip tie these wires over to the frame rail to keep them out of the way of this shock. It's definitely much bigger, but with a little bit of trimming and drilling, it definitely fits. Alright guys, so it's a new day. I actually took these cases and this crank to a buddy of mine who has a machine shop, and he pressed in all these new bearings for me and put on the new crank bearings. I just need to install these new oil seals. And I stopped at the hardware store and picked up this 2mm drill bit because that's what they call for to drill out this oil orifice right here. So I've already removed this stud just to make it a whole lot easier to drill out. I did dip the end of this drill bit in some grease, just some all-purpose grease. That way when we start to drill out this hole, any extra metal shavings will hopefully stick to the drill bit. And as you can see, it worked out. So we're going to be replacing some seals in these cases. That way I can get this bottom end back together. We're only going to be replacing 2 at the moment. This oil seal is for the stator, which goes on later. And same thing with the clutch cover. This one is for a water pump of a CR80, so we're not even going to be using that one. We're just going to be replacing the gear shifter seal for now and the countershaft seal. When it comes to reinstalling these seals, I just set them in the hole, get them as straight as I can. Then just get yourself a socket that fits right over the seal like that, and then tap it down in there with a hammer. I'm just going to leave it hand tight for now because we're not actually using this clutch. We have a heavy duty clutch coming, it just hasn't showed up yet. Before we throw the stator cover on here, this was another one of the oil seals that we needed to replace. So I'm gonna pop this guy out with a flathead and pound this one in with a socket.
You're one of a kind. One of a kind.
So at this point, I'm actually going to go ahead and put the motor back in the bike frame. Get the motor in, mounted up. Got the timing chain roller off the old head, and got our new head out. Take a look at the difference in this piston. This is the new 88cc piston, and this is the 50cc piston. Much bigger. We got the rings on the piston, all the end gaps set, and the piston is down in the cylinder, and we're ready to throw the cylinder on. Throw this cylinder head on. Before I throw it on, I want to go ahead and check the valve lash real quick and adjust these valves because it's much easier to do it up here on the bench than down there on the floor. The intake is 0.002 and the exhaust is 0.003.
Doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that you're special. You're one of a kind. One of a kind.
probably the last day we're gonna be working on this thing because it's just about done. So we got a new tire to throw on that front rim. Back tire's fairly new. We got the new throttle tube assembly, and the last part we were waiting on, the heavy duty clutch and all the clutch necessities. And we pretty much got this thing back together. Alright guys, she is all back together. Had to work out a few kinks on the carb, the needle. I had to take that back out and move the little C-clip up a notch. Now it all planes out and levels out. Everything sounds good, everything runs good.